An imam in Mecca says the word enemy, and somewhere in the West, someone picks up a weapon. That's the chain reaction Imam Tawhidi just exposed, and no one is talking about it. Let's get into it.
So first off, you've mentioned moderate Muslims sometimes. So what would you say are the categories, so to speak, of Muslim people?
Okay, well, there's a Muslim who believes in God, believes in the Prophet Muhammad, believes in the Quran, and just an average person who, and this is me speaking in the West, believes that they should pray 5 times a day, fast in Ramadan, celebrates the Muslim celebrations. That's about it. That's the definition of a Muslim.
Yeah. But could you be less than that and still be Muslim,
No.
so to speak? So you couldn't be just sort of nominally secular Muslim where you don't pray 5 times a day or something?
Then you're just Muslim by name.
So you would say that, would you say that's ex-Muslim? So there is a I wanted to ask you about the ex-Muslim community also, but so you would say that's actually not Muslim, that's just sort of...
Look, a Muslim, the term Muslim is taken from Islam, which means submission. So when it's a verb, a Muslim is a man who's submitting. So every day you're praying, so you are upholding that name of being a Muslim. If you don't pray, then you're just Muslim by name. You're not an actual Muslim.
Right.
I just want to point out, in contrast, very fascinating, a Jew is a Jew in essence, which means you're not a Jew because of your actions. You're a Jew by design, by God. That is the spirit that lives within you. And therefore, a Jew is a Jew no matter what they do. A Jew can be a heretic and still be a Jewish heretic. As opposed to Islam, just a distinction where either if you behave like us, you are one of us. If you don't, then you're not. There are a lot of ramifications to these two different identities, but not for now.
You're not an ex-Muslim because you haven't denounced the religion. You just missing prayers or drinking alcohol and so on.
Right. So do you have any idea the numbers of that amount? I would imagine in the West that's probably a very large percentage of Muslims.
The majority of Muslims believe in God and pray, and there are also Muslims that believe in God, Allah, believe in Muhammad, but don't pray.
Right.
So I wouldn't say that's an issue for us. They can pray or not pray whenever they like. For me, it's the more extremist ones, and then trying to differentiate between the moderate and the extremist.
Right, okay, so we've got sort of just the ones by name only, I get that. The ones who, let's say, aren't practicing, but still are, they were born Muslim, they're Muslim, then...
The ones who are not practicing are the ones the West refers to as moderates.
Right, so that's where I was trying to get with this, to understand what your definition of moderate is.
Yeah. It's the ones who don't practice, and by not practicing, I mean the other laws of Islam. So, for example, the stoning, the killing, the reporting on people who break the blasphemy law, issues like that. People who just don't care, just want to go to work 9 to 5, come back, raise a family, live life, go on holidays. Yeah, parents were Muslim, we were born Muslim, but that's about it. Mm-hmm. These guys are the ones who are referred to as moderates, but they're not really moderates. The moderate is the Muslim that is conservative but wishes to ban certain teachings, certain verdicts. They are the moderates.
So the moderate is the one who's sort of staying within the religion and fighting the extreme parts of the religion. That's
whether
what
it
you
be
would
personally, on a family level, not raising their children in extremist mosques. Those are the moderates.
Okay, and then you obviously include yourself in that.
Well,
I can see why this would be a tough question.
I don't believe in something called moderate Islam. Now, just for the viewers to not get confused, I'm answering your question based on what society and what Islam says. My personal opinion could be another thing. So you might want to ask me what my opinion is on this issue. I don't believe there's a moderate...
Well, let's pretend I asked you your opinion on this issue.
There is no moderate Islam. Islam is Islam, and you're either a reformist, a reformer, a reformed person, or you're still a Muslim. The Muslims who don't chop the hand of the thief and don't stone and don't apply the violence of Sharia law, they've diverted away from the core beliefs of Islam.
So in a weird way, you're an imam who also, you obviously have a great, affinity is not the right word, you have a great respect, I suppose, for the ex-Muslims in a way.
The ex-Muslims have every right to be where they are.
Yeah.
Because now is the worst time to be a Muslim. And when a Muslim has a problem or is facing a problem, whether it be inheritance, financial issues, abuse at home, divorce after being married off, at a very young age, they don't find the person who listens to them. The majority of imams in mosques have zero qualifications when it comes to counseling, when it comes to solving real life problems. They only know how to talk when it's against Israel, against the Jews, and to play the victim card and basically spread news about what they're doing in society. So the ex-Muslims, the majority of them...
That was a major statement right there about most imams.
Leave the religion because, number one, they really feel it's not for them anymore. And the people who paved the way for them, right, I do know that some people read Richard Dawkins or read certain books and then change their religion or leave religion completely. But ISIS makes more ex-Muslims than any intellectual in the West. So if we want to blame ex-Muslim for being ex-Muslim, it's the fundamentalist Muslims that made them ex-Muslim. They're the ones who are making them leave the religion.
Right, and that's completely contrary to what the media would portray about this. They would say it's that if you talk about any of this, you're driving people to become extremists, which, as many people call it, this is the soft bigotry of low expectations. If I was to say anything that might offend you, you would automatically become an extremist, which is such a horrific way of viewing another human being. Is there something that I could say to you that somehow you might end up blowing me up?
Nothing. If you were to kill me and I'd come back to life, I'd still hug you. Seriously, I'd still shake your hand.
All right, you got nothing to worry about, brother. Okay, so let's just do a little bit more of the def. Okay, so wait, so we have sort of the ex-Muslims and the nominal Muslim, then the moderate that you say is not really a thing, actually. Then can you sort of explain Islamist and jihadist?
Okay.
And if there's anything else that I missed within that.
Islamist is an individual that believes in preaching and spreading and expanding Islam and the message of Islam through militant means. So they would spread Islam by the sword, and now the tactics are a bit different. Now it's getting through Congress. So before it was by the sword, now it's getting themselves into parliament and then making laws that act as the sword, the Islamophobia law in Canada, M103.
Yeah.
So an Islamist would silence you just to spread his agenda. That's different from a Muslim. A Muslim would say, okay, this is the Quran, I believe Allah is the right God, I believe Islam is true, accept it, you don't accept it, you're not going to be saved, good night, good night. That's basically a Muslim. An Islamist will actually go the extra mile of kidnapping someone because they drank alcohol and whipping them because they believe that is the right thing to do. We've seen across Europe, statues are being destroyed because it's not allowed in Islam. So that's an Islamist. An Islamist organization would be Hamas. Hamas is an Islamist organization that did terrorist doings. It's responsible for terrorist activities. So then it became a terrorist organization. But its ideology is an Islamist ideology. So two-state solution is not an option. They need to be eliminated because our message is the right one. That's an Islamist mentality. Now, the other person or the other group of people would be the fundamentalists. A fundamentalist Muslim wants to preserve the message of Prophet Muhammad and live like Muhammad the same way he lived. So if the reports say Muhammad had a short pants because his pants would stop to his ankle, they'd go to university, Harvard University, with their ankles sticking out.
Right.
So if there was no deodorant in Mecca, we're not going to use deodorant. If Muhammad never trimmed his beard with a blade, then we're not going to use a blade on ours. That's a fundamentalist. And these guys will always take the side of the Islamist rather than the moderate. And also moderate is just a politically created term. It's a political term to differentiate. But at the end of the day, I don't believe there's moderate. You're either Muslim or you're not, and then there are levels in faith as to how deep you are and how much into the religion you are.
So where does the jihadist fit into that? Because I thought that was a little bit of your definition of a Islamist because of the use of violence?
Okay. The Islamist isn't always a jihadist. An Islamist can be someone who believes in the ideology of spreading Islam by violence, who believes that's the right way, that's how religion should develop, but they don't actually go and fight. You know who these people are? The majority of the imams.
Yeah.
So they're sitting in their mosques, recruiting, sending people to ISIS, but they're not jihadists. The imam is responsible for the jihadist going and joining ISIS. So he's an Islamist, and he would send the Islamist congregation to then become jihadists.
So this is when people talk about the radicalization that's happening in mosques in the West, you believe that to be a real thing.
Of course, it is a real thing, and it's something we battle every single day.
So if I was to go into one of these mosques,
Right.
what would I be hearing?
Well, firstly, because of your beard, you'd be welcomed.
I'd be welcome. I'd have to lengthen this a little bit. Okay.
Yes, you'd be welcomed.
Okay.
And a fundamentalist mosque would definitely frown upon you if you had shaved your beard completely. So beard, you'd be welcome. But
So if you don't have a beard, you actually can't even go in.
no,
probably.
you can. They'll just tell you what's wrong. Are you a woman?
Yeah.
Are you a Jew? Why? Because the reports say that the Jews that came to fight Muhammad had no beards on. It was a sign of going to war. In Arabia, the sign of going to war would be to shave your head. The Jews in Arabia would shave their beards, so then you can tell who is who in the battle.
Jesus.
So
Jesus.
yeah. So the Muslims kept their beards.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Right. So
I'm just saying, I don't think there's a single record anywhere that I'm aware of that Jews would shave their beard before they went to war. I don't know where they got this one from.
it's not a crime. I mean, there are many reformers who don't have beards. It's no big deal. Many
Okay.
Muslims don't.
I grow this out. It's a week from now. I say to you,
Let's go.
Imam, get me to one of these mosques. I
Okay.
want to know what's going on. I walk in with you, let's say.
On a Friday prayer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just tell me what is actually being spoke of that is the place from where it goes from an Islamist ideology to a fundamentalist ideology. What are people hearing? Basically?
Okay, well, firstly, it depends on the speaker. It depends on the imam.
Of course.
There are Islamist imams who say in closed circles what they will not say on the pulpit because of the laws in the West. And then there are imams who would go on there and say things nobody could ever imagine would ever be said. In the history of Islam on the pulpit, they would just say it. So there are two...
In the West.
In the
Some
West,
of them are
yeah.
doing this in the West. I mean,
In
we
the
see
West.
this out of Canada a lot.
Yeah.
Just these incredibly awful things that people that they're saying.
Memory has a wonderful archive
Yeah.
of all of these issues. YouTube is another great source. And the issue is, the mosque records the imam and uploads it on YouTube. So it's nothing being discovered. They know that the world is going to react this way, and they still continue to produce this content. And now they're speaking in English, which makes my job a lot easier because I have to translate sometimes, but now they're just saying it in English. Yes, we want to behead and we want to conquer. And
So when I see these videos, and Memory does a great job of the translations, when I see these videos, but let's say the ones that aren't translated from Canada, for example, they want that message to get out of the mosque. Like, you would think that's contrary to what they would want. You'd think it's like you'd want to keep it sort of radicalized within so you can put a good face on things. But you're saying when they're talking about this and that with the Jews and the gays and the this and that and the other thing, you're saying they actually want that to get out there because they're the ones putting it out.
yes, and also there's a concept of the one Muslim nation, and it's called the Muslim Ummah, Ummat al-Islam, the Islamic nation. Now, what it is basically a Muslim is a citizen of two or more nations. One, the nation they live in, America, Australia, the UK, and the second one is the nation of Islam, not Farrakhan, but the actual Islamic nation. So if the Mufti in Mecca issues a fatwa, an Islamist sitting in LA would commit a terrorist attack. You see that connection?
Yeah.
So when
So if Salman Rushdie's at Starbucks,
yes, and someone in
here.
Iran issues a fatwa, they'll get him here. There's a link, and no other religion has this power, unless it's an organized organization that targets people and sends hitmen. But no other religion has this power. An imam in Mecca would say that the Jews are the enemy or that the Christians are the enemy, knowing 100% that there will be a Muslim who would go and commit a terrorist attack. He doesn't even have to look for him. He doesn't need to do anything. He just knows there's a Muslim who will get this and will do the job. No other religion has this. And we see it several times where in Russia, they killed I think it was, in Turkey. I think it was. A Russian ambassador was shot dead.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
There's video of it. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Just right in the museum or something.
He
Yeah.
was supposed to protect him, and he said, for Syria. And we see this every single month. An act doesn't go by without someone in the West committing a terrorist attack and saying, this is for Syria. This is for Iraq. What's that link? And this confuses our intelligence departments. They've never seen anything like it.
This is very, very fascinating to hear from an insider and someone who himself is an Imam, calling out a significant part of his own religion. Whether you call it Islamists or fundamentalists, but people who are, in English, dangerous.